Peace, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you don't know already, I am Goddess Akasha, and I teach Yanism. Okay, so a lot of what I do is I'm trying to bring some sort of action behind the Black Woman is God philosophy. Okay, so if you have not already watched or seen any of the things that I do, then go ahead and go to my YouTube channel. You can check the link in my bio and it'll take you to the latest video. So you can go ahead and watch from the bottom up. Okay. But today I want to talk about visions of the Yoni. Okay. The Yoni. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the woman's vagina. Okay, so do not mind the noise in the background, of course, but I just posted a post where I'm basically informing you all why we worship the Yoni, okay, why it's worshipped, and how we perceive it to be. Now, I really want to speak about that because I feel like in general, the knowledge that the Black woman being God has been out for quite some time, but I feel like nothing has come of it. And even until this day, I can say that with that knowledge, nothing has changed. Okay. The way in which women are viewed has not changed. The way in which her sexuality is still being controlled or undermined is still has not changed. So we have to, before we get to the point of worshiping the Yoni from subjecting the Yoni, there is a middle ground. So between, we're going to look at this as something that brings us pleasure. And of course, I'm speaking from the mind of a male, right? So whenever we look at the vagina, what is it that we actually see? And that's sorry. That's pretty much what I want to delve deep on, okay? So because honestly, it's obviously not okay to see a vagina in public. Okay, it's not even okay to see a nipple in public, even though people have to breastfeed their babies. But when we look at a vagina, what is it that we see? What is the first thought that comes to mind? Men and women, I really want to know, what is it that we think about when we see the vagina? Right. Right. Let me see if I can share this to a few people. Okay, so your pie, you're telling me that you see creation in many ways. It's loving, nurturing, expansion, depths. Now, you see this, right? But you are also, let's think about context. You're also someone who has been on their healing journey. You are conscious, you are aware of self, right? So this is the image you come to after you have delved into your own journey of healing, right? So I'm talking about the masses, like if I was to sit here and read off statistics to you about the current plight of the Black woman right now, at the rate that she's being unalived, right? The rate that she's being sexually assaulted or violence against her. Like as far as the whole community is concerned, all the Black women in the United States, I'm just going to leave it there, from the United States, right? Can we, like, what can we say the majority sees when they see a vagina? Like right now, like what do you see when you look at a vagina? Honestly, we can't even look at a vagina right now. You can barely see skin. That's one thing that any particular doctrine or religious or spiritual path, no matter where you go, honestly, showing skin is taboo or a bad thing. So back in the days, right? And when I say back in the day, I'm speaking prehistoric, which means, so first of all, prehistory just really means before what was written. So since the printing press started in the 14th century, right, we are talking about everything that happened up until then, right? So before then, before Christianity was imposed on every indigenous or native in their country, we have what is called indigenous spirituality, where in every region, everybody had their own understanding of the divine, right? So before then, that's what I'm talking about. Right. So you're right. You said they see physical pleasure. They see the woman is sexualized, right? So if we think about Sarah Bartman or Sarah J. Bartman, right? This young lady taken as a slave from Southern Africa, right? Is everyone familiar with that, or should we get a quick synopsis? So honestly, if you haven't seen, just go to YouTube. If you need understanding, go to YouTube and look at the Sarah Bartman movie. It gives you a quick visual and understanding of her journey. Okay? So that right there gives you an idea of the way the world views the vagina of the Black woman, specifically her, because we're not going to talk about the differences in other races of women, right? Because again, white women or other races are able to do certain things. White women specifically, they get a pass when it comes to sort of slutty behavior, whereas Black women can't really do the same things. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at how the world views the Black woman and her vagina, it is seen as a tool of pleasure for the male of any race. Right, her story. I get emotional thinking about it too. Like when you think about Sarah Bartman, I need you all to look at that and also see that nothing has changed, right? Even though racism and the treatment of Black women is more, I would say, undercover, right? It's not as to the forefront where you have to deal with it every single day as soon as you walk outside. It's not like that. It's more undercover. It's more incognito. So we get that kind of treatment when we go to the hospitals. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't give us the proper pain meds and they treat us any kind of way. And you know what I'm saying? So these are the type of things that we experience. But back to my point, because I end up rambling. The way that the vagina is seen, just the vagina, right? If a woman is naked and her vagina is shown, that is not a good thing, right? But when we think about back in the days, right? Think about how many civilizations where the people walked around naked. African, indigenous, South American, Amazonians. There's a lot of people who walked around with barely any clothes on, and this was normal. Okay, so sexual assault and rape was not like a crazy problem You understand what I'm saying? Women were able to walk around every day bare-breasted, doing their, doing their duties, feeding children, gathering herbs, cooking, whatever they were doing, they were able to do it freely. And so when I sit here and I talk to you all about goddess worship, there's a correlation between the way civilizations used to live in prehistoric times and their spirituality. Okay, so their spirituality of honoring nature, their spirituality of honoring the creator as the mother, and also the fact that people were able to walk around and the woman's body was venerated for her fertility. So back then, if you look at a lot of figurines, if you look at a lot of artwork, if you do any particular anthropological research, you will see that goddess worship tend to show itself or reveal itself through naked women. Okay, so the vagina would be seen. Okay, the breasts would be seen. They would be immortalized in these figurines and statues. Right. Life in general wasn't sexually exploited and people understood the purpose, right? So everyone understood, which is also why the phallus was worshipped as well, especially in the eastern part of the world, right? So you would usually see the phallus and the yoni together in a lot of different figures and statues and temples. Okay, so what I am trying to get us back to is that level of consciousness. I'm trying to get us back to that psyche where we are able to see a woman breastfeeding outside and not see and not feel disgusted, because the average person will be like, oh my gosh, she needs to cover, to the point where now they're making shirts specifically to where, they can like hide the breast and still have like, so I'm like, if she is feeding her child, that's all you should see. You know what I'm saying? Right, exactly. So again, we're also going into the ritual of sex or sexual energy exchange. That was also a fertility ritual where it was not so perverted or degraded as it is now. As it is now, we don't even use sex for creation, manifesting anything. We don't do that. We do it strictly for that's what we do. Okay, and nothing comes from it. We transfer trauma to each other. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that actually has to change right now. And what I'm trying to get us to is, when it comes to Yanism and as a whole, the Yoni is worshipped. And what that means is you have to meditate on the Yoni, which means you have to see it. You have to see it, and you have to be able to be in front of it without your animalistic desires taking over. If you can get to that point, then you are actually doing the work. So honestly, from the point of subjugation, that middle ground is actually your time to deprogram, right? You have to deprogram, and you have to, which means emptying your cup. Empty your cup of all the garbage. Pour it out, right? Pour it out. You don't need it. And make sure your cup is empty so that you can fill it with all of the proper ways, which means going back to our ancient times, our ancient spirituality. That's what Yanism is. Going back to your ancient spirituality, your ancient knowing, your appreciation for inner wisdom, okay, your appreciation for nature and other beings, understanding that divinity is in everything. So you should never feel shame from seeing someone naked or unveiling yourself. Like if I take this off right now, everyone should be unfazed. You understand what I'm saying? The only reason why I can't is because I'm on this platform, which what took me a while to get on here is because I was looking for a shirt. Because I had on a dress that was like a tube, and I'm like, oh, if I put that on, it look like I have nothing on. So I tried to find something with like straps so I could put on so it doesn't look like I'm naked. Even many of us women have to learn to appreciate the yoni. Unfortunately, we forgot. Yes. So what I'm talking about is not just, oh, men have to learn. So when I'm talking about we have to deprogram, I'm talking about both men and women. That's what I'm talking about. Men and women, because I forgot. I was watching something and the woman was talking, and then she was talking and getting ready, and she was taking off her shirt, but she had a bra on, and there was three women in the room, and they all turned around. Said she got a bra on. It's just boobs. Like, why is there why is there shame when it comes to the human body? Like, this is our temple. This is actually something that we used to revere. We used to be able to see the body and honor it. You understand what I'm saying? So, and it's so rampant. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but even church doors, right? Catholic cathedrals. I don't know if you notice the architecture in those buildings. It would always be like this. The doors would be like this. You know what I'm saying? So that means they were all shaped like the yoni. The windows, the doors, and even sometimes you would see I don't know if you learned about the Jesus wound. So that he would have a wound on his side, and there would be a lot of pictures, even in the designed windows, right? You would see people drinking from the Jesus wound, and that's what you see as communion in the church, in the Christian church. So you would have bread and you would have wine in church. Wine was symbolic of the blood of his wound. So his wound would be shaped like the yoni. And you got to understand where Christianity came from. So when Christianity came about, Christianity was just replacing or a perverted version of the goddess culture beforehand. So before that, that was actually symbolic of people drinking menstrual blood, because that would be the elixir of life. Okay, so within that, you would have all the stem cells that would help people alleviate their illnesses. So that's what that really was supposed to be. Now, right now, if I was to say that that's what we're doing right now, oh, come on, guys, let's make sure to drink the wine to symbolize the menstrual blood of our mother. Y'all gonna be like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to utilize your third eye and see that that's what you're drinking it for. You're drinking it for life. Thank you. In the motherland, we walked free. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. There was a lot of things that I know right now. A lot of time, that's why I don't talk too much. But I'm trying. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna be talking. Y'all gonna get tired of me. But I don't talk too much because I know a lot of the things that I have to say, the general public is not ready for it. Okay, but if you in general are truly, 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 truly ready and willing to return to our ancient sacredness and start living your life as you're supposed to, And I'm talking about how you were before colonization. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going back to your ancient knowing and your ancient practices. Okay? Actually becoming who you are before you forgot who you were. You know what I'm saying? It takes opening up your mind and not being so closed off to information. So a lot of the things that was customary to the ancients is seen as negative now. Negative, disgusting, taboo, and immoral. It was immoral. You understand what I'm saying? So I think in general, what we need is for people in general to not be afraid to be different. You can't be afraid to be different. You have to be, like, if you really want to be serious about your own journeys, you have to be open, right? You have to be open and you have to be serious. Take your life serious. Like, you got to walk around like, I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying? So if you go around wondering and caring about what the outside world thinks of you, you're always going to be in a chokehold. Society will always have you in a chokehold and you will never experience true freedom. I'm talking about mental freedom because we're all mentally enslaved right now, which is worse than physically enslaved. Okay? Because mentally enslaved means we will do the work to enslave our children. That's what that means. We will teach our children to be slaves, to continue on generations, which has been happening. And that's why we are where we are right now. So when you look at our symbol, it is the symbol of the vagina. Okay? So get used to it. Get used to seeing it and get used to seeing some nipples. Okay? But I definitely want to talk about that, and even from there I want to talk to you guys about Goddess Day, Friday. Right. We are perpetuating our own generational curses, and if we really want to break them, this is what it takes. Right? So every Friday, I need y'all to understand this. I want you to listen to me very closely. Okay? Every Friday is when you should be honoring the goddess. Okay? If there's women in your life, this is the day when you should take on their burden for that day. This is the day when the goddess rests. So we as women should not be doing any work on Fridays. You understand what I'm saying? We should not do any work on Fridays. And everyone else should be, men should be cook us dinner, clean. First of all, when you wake up in the morning, you should clean. Make sure that the house is clean. The goddess should wake up in a clean space. That's number one. Number two, you want to make sure that you are getting the breakfast. Whatever she likes in the morning, first of all, before she even likes breakfast, you should get her some lime water because you want to make sure she's cleansed. Because we got to understand something about love. Love is healing, right? So we're going to do what's best for our loved ones, right? Because we love them. Loving them, we heal them, right? So we want to make sure in the morning before breakfast, we get her some lime water because you know that's good, right? Put some chlorophyll in it if you want to be extra. Now, after that, then you can get her desired breakfast. Then after that, make sure she has the day to do whatever she would like to do. If she decides to reflect, journal, yoga, whatever she feel like doing, she should be able to do that without any particular burdens. Now, being in this society, work may be a thing, but if you can, as a woman, utilize your vacation or sick days. take off on Fridays because you shouldn't even be working. Or you can allow them to accumulate and use them for your cycle time. So during your cycle time, you shouldn't be working either. Okay? You can call today Venus Day. You can call today Goddess Day. It doesn't matter because the day is for the planet Venus, which is a feminine planet, just like Earth is a feminine planet. And it is a day of honoring the feminine energy. Okay? Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming. You can go ahead. I'll put this live on my page. You can always come back and watch it. It's all good. Thank you so much for coming, of course. But this is what I want to just talk to you guys about, is actually implementing the knowledge that we have, because I could sit here and talk to any random person. People like, oh, Bobby Hemmett taught the Black woman is God. Great. What else they say? Who else said it? They said, oh, Dr. York taught the Black woman is God. I'm like, okay, great. Now what? What happens from there? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what happens from there? So there is a culture behind it. Like, I don't want people to just be like, oh, it's a saying, because it's not just affirmation you go around saying just because it sounds cute. That doesn't do anything for anybody. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't do anything for anybody. So understand that there is a culture behind it. And if this is something that you truly know to be the truth, then you should be living it. You should be living your truth. Right? How many of us is living our truth? So it's not just about, oh, I have a sexuality, I want to live my truth that way. What about your spiritual truth? Are you being your inner self? Like, I know a lot of us play characters for the society, but at what point do we get tired of doing that and we decide that we want to be ourselves? Like, you know what I'm saying? So if we know that God is our mother, not our father, like, how do we show our mother that we love her? Like, how do we show and live the goddess culture? Like, you understand what I'm saying? So we have to be able to do this. And it starts with Goddess Day every Friday. Look at it as the Sabbath for the Israelites, right? Or the Seventh-day Adventists, or Jehovah Witnesses. I think they do it too. Yeah. Or the Sunday for Christians, right? So our day is Friday. That's the day you honor the feminine. You make sure that she has her day off as much as possible if she can. Excuse me. If she can take off work, if not, fine. You know? Exactly. So, and again, also, do not place any burdens or anything else, any personal burdens on her while she's menstruating as well. Okay? Understand that the menstruation is it's a form of a biological clock. So it's the first way in which we learned how to do math, because that's a way in which we saw that our bodies was tied to the cosmos with the moon. So now we understand that months is basically linked and aligned with our cycles. So we was able to tell months from women. Okay? And I feel like most of us should know that. The calendar that we have now is strictly to help us pay bills. Okay? I'm just being honest. So we have a economic and financial calendar. It's not for anything else. So once we start using our lunar calendar again, then we can start going back into our feminine spirituality. Okay? So that's something that I want to talk to you guys about. So again, this is not the culture where we have to cover up our bodies and be modest, because the body is honored, the body is sacred. So yes, you will see a little something something, but you cannot be, come on, we're not, we're not asleep anymore. We're not going to act like that, right? So that's what I wanted to say today. Okay, that's what I want to say today. That's my lesson for today. My lesson for today is visualizing the Yoni, being able to see it and not be affected in that way. Being able to see the woman's body. Okay, because the Yoni is the symbol of creation. That's the physical symbol. Without you having to buy anything, without you having to get anything made custom. It's not, no crosses. No, we don't do that over here. It is attached to a woman's body. It is between her legs. That is the symbol of life right there. Should we as men reach a point where we do become aroused by the woman's nude body? What do you mean? Will we do or we don't? Did you mean to say don't become aroused by the woman's nude body? Because that's not what I'm saying. But I'm glad you said that so I can explain. Okay? So one thing I'm not saying is that you shouldn't get aroused, because that's not how biology works, right? Right. That's not how biology works. You are going to get aroused. Obviously, that's nature, right? But what I'm talking about is during worship time. So when it's time for you to actually do a Yoni puja. So puja is the spiritual worshiping of the Yoni. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm making a distinction between Yoni worship in the sexual nature and Yoni worship in the spiritual nature. So in the spiritual nature, it's called Yoni puja, and puja is a Sanskrit word for worship. Okay, so that's when you are able to meditate and chant and pray, which means you get on your knees, you bow, and you're able to meditate looking at the Yoni. And at that point, you should not be aroused. At that point, you should feel enlightened. You understand what I'm saying? And not only that, you will, I can tell you right now, your kundalini will raise at that time, right? But it's a different, how can I explain? It's a different feeling, right? So instead of your arousal being stuck in your genitals, it will actually rise up to your heart chakra. So you want to be able to feel your arousal here. You understand what I'm saying? It should rise up. And honestly, if you wait, it can start there. It'll start there. You'll feel it. I'm not going to say you won't, right? But you must get past that point, focus, meditate, right? And after a while, you'll start to feel it rise. You'll start to feel it rise, and then it will be here. And that's what you want to feel. That's the enjoyment you will feel. That's the satisfaction you will feel. It will be pleasurable for you to feel it here. It will still feel good, but it will feel different. You understand what I'm saying? And that right there is the type of enlightenment that you get from meditating upon the Yoni. So arousal, yes. But that's how you transcend the animalistic nature, making sure that it rises up to your heart chakra. Okay? Yes, thanks so much. That was a good question, and I was going to explain that, but I almost forgot. So I'm glad you asked me that question to explain that, because I totally forgot. I end up talking about the things I totally forgot. But yes, that's exactly what is going to happen. So I don't want you to think that you have to turn it off, because you're not Buddhist monks where you can't have any pleasure. I need people to understand that when you are under Yonism, this is a type of spirituality where enlightenment and pleasure go hand in hand. It's not something where you have to like do away with to be enlightened. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that there is a balance between the carnal and the spiritual. Okay, so there is a meeting in the middle, and that's what we're trying to go back to. Hey, you came in a little late. but but yeah, that's pretty much what that is. And what I want to do is I really want to demonstrate this, or um have a video to show you how it's done, different ways that you can do it. And I'm going to do that. I definitely need to make sure I find someone to do this with. Now, you can do this with person, right? But not all the time you're around a woman, or you have a woman to whose yoni you can worship, right? So you can start off practicing. You can practice. You can get a picture. You can get a picture and you can practice there. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage you to start there. Start not in front of a woman. Please don't. Because I'm sure you don't trust yourself. I don't trust you. So this is something you have to practice before you get in front of her. Okay? So use a picture. It can be a picture of the goddess in totality, like her whole self, or it can just be the yoni. Just a picture of the yoni. And you can start with a picture of her whole self, and then once you feel you've done a good job, then you could put a picture of the yoni. It could be an art piece, a real one, whatever. If you have someone to send you a real one, cool, do that. But if not, stick with an art piece. There's plenty of art, okay? There's plenty of art that you could just use something, put a picture, frame it, put it on your altar. And when it's time, make sure every Friday you are able to do your Yoni puja, right? And you want to make sure you start off with your candles, lighting incense. You want to make sure you are incorporating all the elements. So you should have some water, some flowers or rose petals, whatever, right? Some incense for scent, candles, whatever you want to use, right? And you want to make sure you're cleansing your space, you're saging, things like that. And then after that, you can start your meditation, prayer, and chant. Okay? Yes. I know many men are single and they have this understanding. You it's okay if you're single. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I'm single. No, I don't want you to feel like that. It's actually more empowering that you're single because you can get a lot of practice and you don't have to feel, like you fail at any point if you can't, you know what I'm saying? If you can't transfer your Kundalini energy upward, if you can't do it at first, because at first it's going to be hard, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to feel like a failure as long as you're trying. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. So do that and make sure that when you have your altar, you're bringing offerings to it every Friday. You want to make sure you're bringing an offering as if the goddess was there in front of you. So you can put fruit there, or, because fruit is life-giving, right? Because they have seeds as well, right? So you can put flowers there, whatever. So you can put your jewelry up there, money up there, whatever you want to put up there as an offering to the goddess. So you're in practices. And this is what you should do every Friday, right? Every Friday. And the best time to do this is at nighttime. So once it gets dark, after sunset. After sunset is great because the darkness is representative of space inside the womb, or the primordial chaos, the creation space. Okay? So do your spiritual work for the goddess in the dark at night. Your light should be off. Your candles should be your lighting. Low lighting, right? Just enough so you can see your goddess, the Yoni that you have there, the picture, whatever. And you should be in that space because you want to make sure you are blocking out all of the 3D illusion stuff that's not real. You want to block out, no TV should be on. You know what I'm saying? Block out the rest of your place, your house. That doesn't matter. Right now, your focus is on the Yoni. That's all you should be looking at. Yes. Do it at nighttime. Nighttime is the best time. So, any more questions? Any more questions? Let me know. And this will help you all be able to see the Yoni in a different space when you're praying to it. Understand that even when you hold your hands together, you was praying to a Yoni anyway because of the shape that it makes. You understand? Makes the shape. So we have to be able to get to a space where our worship of women is not fetishized. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be, oh, I worship women because they make me feel good sexually. Like, that can't be it. Like, oh, I worship women because they can make me babies. Like, that can't be it. Like, oh, I worship women because they're just so beautiful. Like, that's shallow. No. No. Because you should be able to worship a Yoni, whether it's young or old, whether it's bleeding or not. You understand what I'm saying? And what else is that thing? I'm trying to think. Any other things? I'm trying to see how else. If you want, I'll post some art and you can utilize that. Well, Instagram safe art. Instagram safe art. I have a question about unlearning Christian Western concepts of darkness and worship. I'm drawn to Yonism, but I have I can't see what that says. Ningling paranoia from my previous understanding. How does one overcome this fully? Okay. Okay, so darkness. And I know that darkness is seen as evil, right? Darkness is seen as evil. Now, we have to kind of understand. Now, see, I'm going to have to do a class on this. This is going to have to be like a full class where I kind of show you guys how the darkness is the mother and even the devil and who they see as the devil is pretty much the goddess, right? And everything of hers is what they make evil on purpose. So when it comes to darkness, you kind of have to, I think in general that will take time and practice. Like for real. I think that's going to take time and practice. I think in general it would have to be immersing yourself in darkness and changing your experiences around it. So not just your psychological understanding of it, but actually experiencing it in a different manner. Hopefully that makes sense. So you would have to start actually doing the ritual at nighttime, right? If you can open the window and see the moon coming, like if it's a full moon, perfect. If there's moonlight coming in, that's what you need. That will help you see darkness in a different light. And I think if you don't live in the city, if you live like in a country somewhere where you're able to see the stars and the moon a lot more clearly, I think you would be able to appreciate the darkness a lot more so than before. Like right now I'm in a city, so I look up, I don't see any stars. I see like 2 stars. But what helps me appreciate the darkness of nature, right? Because you would have to go to the park at nighttime. If you can go to the park at night to just be in nature at nighttime, then you would be able to understand and feel the experience of being. You have to just immerse yourself in it a lot more so that you can get a different understanding of it. Thank you so much. I'm glad that this resonates, and I'm glad that you have these questions. I don't want you to feel like you're asking me too much, because there's going to be things that people need to know who may have the same questions, who may not even know to even ask this. You know what I'm saying? They could just struggle with it and not even know to ask. So if you're asking, go ahead. Ask whatever you need to. Ask as many questions as you want to, you know? And I'll do my best to answer every single one of them, because I know it's going to help some people, many people who need it. You know what I'm saying? Because people could sit here and be like, oh, that's what we gotta do. Okay, great. But they won't ask how, you know? And how is a very important question to ask. So, like, all of us have been conditioned about darkness and negativity and immorality. Like, everything you got to understand who the God of the Bible is. First of all, if you understood the God of the God of the Bible is actually the Son. He's a son. He's not the Almighty or the Most High. He is the son of his mother, which is a goddess. And everything that he's doing is what you would call a rebellion towards his mother. You got to understand that. So, and these are the type of things that you read in the apocryphal type of text, the Gnostic text. You're not going to read this in the canon, the regular canon. You're going to read this in the books that was taken out. And they take it out because it makes the actual, it shows you exactly who the God of the Bible is. So once you realize the fraud, he's been trying to keep us away from our true God this whole time. He just don't like his mother. That's exactly what he's doing. So when he sit here and talk about the modesty of a woman, she has to be covered. So when you see that in the Torah, because they all the same thing, they got pieces of each other, they all in cahoots, right? Yeah, no, the goddess shows you the temple so that you can honor it. If you cover it up, it teaches shame. Shame is not a part of the goddess culture. It's not. Especially Hebrew Israelites, y'all go hard in following God's laws, right? But understand, God's laws is to feed his ego. It's to feed his ego, right? And that's why if you don't do what he say, he just kill you. That's why, like, it's crazy to me because Hebrew Israelites mean that you accept the fact that right now you are living a curse because you didn't follow the covenant in which you were given all those long time ago, right? When he first gave you the laws, you didn't follow it. And now he's cursed you by way of other nations being over you. And the only way that you will be redeemed is if you follow his laws, and then he can take you into the wilderness, into the new kingdom of heaven, and blah, 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 right? So it's like, he's playing a game. You don't see that he's playing a game? This is fun. This is fun. This is like, I'm going to see how much they can handle. Let's see how long these curses can last. Let me see how long they can handle. This is fun. This is amusing. This is amusing to him because he's having fun. Understand that the Most High that you know is not the Most High. He is the lowest of the family of gods, as I should say, because I'm speaking on the Hebrew lens. I'm speaking from the Hebrew lens right now. So you got to understand something. He is, hopefully I'm not running out of time. I am running out of time soon, but I'm going to do a class on this, okay? I'm going to do a class on this, and it's going to be about the God of the Bible, who he is, what his motives are, and who is the Most High really. Okay? I can promise you that. That'll be my next class next Friday. That's what we're going to learn. Okay? Just for you and every other Hebrew Israelite who is in a chokehold. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you which book it's in, and it'll show you exactly why the book was removed, because you gotta always ask yourself, well, why is this book removed? You'll see why. Once you read them, it'll be obvious why that book was removed. So yes, I'll do this next Friday. So remember what I said, okay? Get the things you need for your altar, okay? And next Friday, I will see you all, and I will give you class, of course, throughout the day. But once the sun goes down, make sure you are practicing. You are at least looking at a picture of a yoni for a good while, at least 45 minutes to an hour. You need to be looking at it in the dark, praying. That's what you need to do. You feel like, yes, you have to pray tonight. Jehovah, Yahweh, all these names. I'm gonna tell y'all who the Elohim is and all that, because there's a lot of teachers out here who are teaching, but they not really. I try my best to make sure I bring sources. Y'all know that, right? I try to bring sources so you know that what I'm saying is truth, and I'm not just talking to you just because I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I want to show you what it is. That way, if you feel like it, you go and read these books if you want to. And that way, you know I'm not lying. You can always go look it up. I don't lie. Okay? I speak truth always and forever. Well, I have 2 minutes. How fast can you type? Are chastity cages compatible with Yanism? To be continued. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. We only got 1 more minute. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. Yes, next week's gonna be deep. But thank you all so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening. And I will see you all next week. Okay. And don't forget what you have to do. Okay, remember to worship the Yoni. Much love. Okay. Remember to worship the Yoni.